Hey, so today we're going to talk about how do you go from a prototype to something scaled? How do you get users? How do you get engagement on your product, whether it's health tech or a service or whatever else? We're going to be using Offscript as a case study for this one. They've just crossed 100 users, the first 100 users, which is a fantastic milestone to cross for any new platform. And if you haven't heard about this, I've done a few videos in the past about it as well. Offscript is a new platform that helps clinicians move into industry jobs. And if you log in here, they've got a couple of fantastic features. Got a bunch of fantastic features. In the free tier, you get their dashboard. You get a jobs board where you can search over 12,000 jobs. When I was last here, there's now 16,000 jobs on here that you can search, which are made for clinicians and specifically industry jobs for clinicians. You can then come to the education center and learn a lot more, look at podcast episodes and see what you need to get into industry positions, all the inspiration and information out there. On the paid tier, you get access to a career clarity coach that can help you come up with your next steps, figure out what you need to do. You can get it to then generate your CV and tailor it for specific jobs. And the best bit is it integrates with the job so that you can take your CV that you've worked on and modify it for each job that you're applying to. And yes, you can apply through this platform as well. And if you get the interview, you can then work on practicing your interviews with an AI coach as well. So super, super fantastic. And if you don't know me, this is the first time you're meeting me. My name is Shub. I am an EM registrar, but I'm also a clinician founder coach. So I'm an executive coach helping clinician founders find, test, and build their zone of impact beyond the clinical world, whether that's a health tech venture, whether that's as a founder in their own sense, what are they going to create that's going to be maximizing their potential and really making a difference in the world that matters to them the most, right? So let's look at where Offscript is right now. And if they're currently at about 100 users and we want to get them to, say, 10,000 users, what would be the journey? What are the things that we need to think about? And now, Ams and Abdul, who are behind this, thanks, by the way, for letting me use yourselves as a case study. The guys behind this aren't new to it. They've previously created and launched Peer, a healthcare specific social media platform which has videos, has jobs, and a lot more available. So again, a really nice place. They're not new to creating content. They're not new to getting users. This platform now has over 12,000 users. So very, very exciting time and a very exciting space. But let's get into some of the things we can think about so that you can learn from their journey. And Amzan Abdul, if you find any of this useful, feel free to kind of steal the ideas going forward. So to start off with, what I really, really like about Offscript already is something that is so hard to do. They've got a really well defined now in terms of where the customers are, and they've got a really well defined future where people are going to get to. The now really is that they are clinicians, and the future is that they're getting an industry job. And that's half your job done there. So if you simply talk about the struggles or the challenges of being in this position, and then you go ahead and talk about how amazing it is to get an industry job, that itself creates this dissonance, this spread between where people are right now and where they want to get to. And that stretch is the supply and demand, right? So you are creating that gap, you are agitating the current pressure, and you're making the future look better. And that in itself, in terms of the marketing and the messaging, goes a long way to help you one identify the right sort of people. So when you put this out into the algorithm, it's going to go and find the people who are currently frustrated with their 9 to 5, frustrated with their clinical jobs. And then when you're specifically talking about this outcome, the ones that don't want an industry job won't be interested. Having this clearly message almost in every single post that you make is crucial to having your content reach the right sort of people. And once you've reached the right sort of people, that's when the journey really begins. And I want to just kind of bring up this slide from one of my sessions I've done earlier, that essentially we often go from generating leads to then capturing leads, inviting them, making a sale, and then delivering the product. We have the delivery started with the platform already available for people to join, paying customers are coming in. Everything else down needs is kind of what we're working on generating. So once you've got this bit figured out, once you've got the now and the future and your content reaches the right person, that's when the lead generation has happened. Everything then is downstream from there. How do you capture the lead? How do you invite them? And how do you make sales to them? Now, if you can see this diagram, you've got many ways to generate leads, both inbound and outbound methods. You've got many ways to capture them as well. You've got many ways to make those invitations. But in reality, you just need one. You just need one from each section to kind of be successful. Not just kind of, to actually be successful. People end up doing multiple of these, generate loads of leads, but actually they've got nothing capturing the lead. And they're like, oh, I'm working so hard. Why is nothing happening? Why am I not getting any sales? And that's because you haven't covered the gap. So there needs to be a path that someone can bounce through and have a safe journey every step of the way, knowing that they're moving closer, making that decision to actually move closer, even if it's not happening very consciously. That decision making needs to take place and helped in that journey moving forward. So super important to kind of think about this. Uh, I've noticed that you guys are already on TikTok and you are on Instagram. So this is fantastic. So for the purpose of conversation, we're going to focus in on short form content being your lead generator. And what this is doing is this is creating the top of your funnel in old terms. We know that this is kind of not how it works anymore. People don't travel down a funnel in just one single path. People bounce from your website to your Instagram, to your YouTube channel, and then perhaps back to a blog article, and then onto LinkedIn, and then maybe a conversation or a workshop. And so there is a bit more of a network effect. But for the purpose of simplifying it down, we're going to say there is a lead generation that happens at the top of the funnel. Yeah. So top of funnel. And let's say the sale is what happens at the bottom of the funnel. Actually, what would probably want to happen at the bottom of the funnel, if we're being genuine clinicians and caring about the outcome that people get, is not really the sale, it's the job. So people getting an industry job should be the bottom of the funnel. What does that journey look like from the point that they find out about Offscript all the way to getting an industry job? What are the layers that need to go through so that they can trust you, get to know you, and actually choose you to help them get that industry job? So the thing with TikTok and Instagram is that it's really good for being top of funnel, getting people aware of you, finding out about you for the first time. But there's got to be something for the middle and there's got to be something for the bottom, and they serve different purposes. So the top serves the purpose of finding out about you. The middle serves the purpose of trusting you. And the bottom serves the purpose of choosing you. So you've got to have content that kind of travels throughout each of them. Now, if I'm going to focus in just on Instagram for this moment, I want to show you what this could look like across the platform itself. So you've got Reels. Now, Reels generally have about a 70-30 split. So it'll be about 70% of people who don't know who you are, who are not your followers, and 30% will be seen by your followers. The next thing you got to think about is carousels. Carousels are different because the split is almost the other way around. 30% of people who don't know you and 70% of your viewers of your carousel will be people who already follow you. So they've already got to know about you, and that now you have the chance to do something different for them through the carousel. And then there's stories. So stories on Instagram are seen 100% by people who follow you. So these are people who want to know what's going on in your world. They come across, they want to connect with you on a one-on-one basis and really get to know you, right? So if we were to break it down, this is about getting to know you. This is about getting to like you, and this is about getting to trust you by knowing who's the person behind the brand, who's the person behind the business. And I love that this is a clinician-led, founder-led brand, and you can show them that you are trustworthy and that you are valuable and that they can start to like the work you're putting through. So what I would be doing in terms of Reels is creating content that filters, right? At this point is when you want to talk about the fact that you're for clinicians and that you're helping them get industry jobs, and what you're not doing. Who are you not is just as important in this space, so that people can say, this is for me and this is not for me. That's literally all it should do. It should pique their curiosity. It should be entertaining. And this is the space where education is quite tricky because most people aren't on these short form platforms for education. So you might have to leverage music, good settings, visuals to kind of get that engagement. If your engagement graph is kind of looking like this, and that's not the place you want to be. You want to try and get to at least something like that. So you've got to make shorter content, stuff that's more on trend, something that's a little bit more entertaining, and just starts to pique curiosity, doesn't deliver value entirely just yet. And I know we really want to do that. And there's lots that we can share in this format. And I'll get into another format that does that really well and much better. So that's the first thing. The carousel is where you get to educate. This is where you tell them, go from step 1 to step 5. Here are 3 things that you didn't know about industry jobs. Here are 5 reasons Offscript was created, etc., etc. This is where the education takes place. This is where people swipe through and start to build trust. This is really, really high value stuff. And the stories are for behind the scenes. This is where you share who you are, what you're up to, what you get excited about. This is where your values come through. Both your personal values, but also values of the business, values of the team that's working on this value, and the reason behind why you're doing this. The success stories, the people behind your first 100 customers, who they are, why you're excited about all of this can go into this section here. So that's how I would think about Instagram, Reels, Carousel Stories. I would aim for at least 1 reel every day, or let's say 5 to 7 reels in a week. I would aim for 2 to 4 carousels in a week and at least 7 stories in a week. So one a day is probably what you should be going for. The call to action from your reels is follow. The call to action from your carousel is join something or sign up somewhere. And I'll tell you what that would be. In your case, that could be straight away to the Offscript platform, but you don't really want to make sales here. You want to invite them to more value in this space. And the stories is where you can directly sell. This is where you can give away your discount codes, your coupons, and invite people in. So the ones that have been following you that really are interested, who get this lucky opportunity that they saw your story today, can actually go ahead and buy using your discount coupons. 2 other formats that I think are hugely valuable and will be growing in value and popularity over the coming few years. One of them is Instagram Live. So going live is going to be the next biggest currency because it's the one thing that AI yet cannot do, right? And it's the opportunity for people to see who you truly are. How long can you keep a facade up for? And can they interact with you? Can they participate with you? So this is the space where you can both educate and entertain. You can also share case studies. I think that would be really good for yourselves. And I've seen some recent videos of you going through some CVs and analyzing CVs. That would be really cool. You can have case studies show up. You can have some of your early customers show up here. You can talk about, you can get some of your podcast guests on. So you could do like mini live podcasts, maybe 15 to 20 minutes long, and do it on a regular basis so that people can join. People can get access to the people you have access to by being on that, getting to ask their own questions. And so then people start to join you, right? And so when we were talking about what you can do with your carousels, what do you get them to join? I think you can get them to join these Instagram live sessions. And the reason that people follow, the one reason that people follow is not because they like the stuff that you do. They like your stuff, put a like on your content because they like it. They follow because they want to know what's next. If they are interested in finding out what's coming up next, what's the next event that I can join, the thing that I don't want to miss, that's when they follow you. Now, here's the biggest and most exciting part of 2026. We have the beauty of being able to work with ManyChat. By the way, I'm not sponsored by any of these. ManyChat is something I pay for personally myself. It is an AI automation that you can set up on Instagram and TikTok, and you can have one automation working across multiple spaces. What this allows you to do is that every follow that you get, you can automate DM to these people saying, "Hi, thanks for following me. Would you like to know more or come to a workshop or join the live or explore what Offscript is about?" You can even, you can even invite them to your newsletter. You can then even categorize things further and what's the word for it? You can segment the audience and be like, what are you looking for? Are you looking for health tech? Are you looking for pharma? What sort of job are you looking for? Why did you give me a follow? What's on your mind? So it allows you to go from follow to DM. It also allows you to do the thing comment off script. And I will send you a discount or a worksheet or an invite, yada, yada, yada. Okay. I would heavily leverage this because each person who's dropping a follow on your Instagram account is interested in going from being a clinician to an industry professional, right? That's what they're interested in. So come back to this point and answer those questions. Ask them, where are you now? Where do you want to get to? How can I help you? Have those conversations. And you can set up automations in a way that if someone's meeting specific criteria, you can take over the conversation and have a one-on-one. You can set up calls. You can offer them more information. Now, coming to what sort of content should you make? There's been one strategy that's worked really, really well for me over the years. And there's three pillars to this content strategy. The first bit of the strategy is to talk about what becomes possible on the other side by using your product. And that's very simple to get an industry job. The second bit is to talk about why you've come up with this. Why are you on a mission to help clinicians get the industry job? Because people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so if that why is very, very clear, and if it's a serving why, if it's for them and not for you, if it's not about you making money, but actually about truly having a story behind the brand that's inspiring. And for you guys, you've done the Scrubbed In show, you've done peer, you've been about clinicians and industry all your while. This should be an easy thing for you to talk about. And the last one is how. How does it all work? And this is where you can showcase demos, right? I would recommend a lot of this. So this is huge story content. This is huge reel content. And this is huge live content on Instagram. So hopefully just giving you some ideas out there. And I know it starts to very quickly become very overwhelming. Like you can do so much stuff on just one platform, which is why it's highly recommended to just pick one platform and focus on that for at least a year and get yourselves from 100 to 10,000 users. You know, if your Instagram's currently at 38, if it can get to about 1 million, at least 10,000 of them would easily be your users, your paying users, and that would be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it? So yeah, if I were you, I would be doing an Instagram live every week. In addition to that, setting up reels, carousels, and stories. And the thing I want to kind of end on is this concept of where do you spend your time? So we know that there's a know, like, and trust factor, and there's going to be more people that know you than the number of people that like you and the number of people that trust you. And that's just the nature of things, right? However, when it comes to actually deciding what do you invest in, where do you spend your time, it's an upside down triangle. You've got to spend most of your time and effort working on things that help people trust you, work on the trust building, work on the messaging, work on being present, which you guys are doing absolutely fantastically with. You're cranking out media with your face on it all the time. That's absolutely beautiful. Then the like. And the least amount of time you want to spend is on the nose factor. So the bit where, which is the top of funnel content, the superficial things, the LinkedIn posts, the articles. So what you want to then think about is a flywheel. And this is something that I'm creating for myself. There's a really nice platform that I've recently discovered. Again, they're not sponsoring me. It's called Blotato, blotato.com. It allows you to convert a long form piece of content into tailored content for multiple different platforms. And you can give it the information so that it remains yours. It is your voice being reconfigured into different platforms. What I would look at is taking, say, your IG Live, breaking it down into articles and carousels. Yeah. Articles plus LinkedIn posts and carousels, and putting that out there for automation. And that way, all you got to do is focus your time on the IG lives once a week, right? You then look at the content at the end of the week and you say, what were the themes that emerged from this? Yeah. You feed it to AI and get prompts for what should you do. You want prompts that say, hey, AMS, last week this was the topic. Why did you talk about X, Y, and Z in a reel? So this could be reel 1, reel 2, and reel 3. And so, say for example, last week you had a guest on who talked about pharma industry. You've automated the content around it, lots of superficial stuff. The reels is somewhere you still want to be present with your face and show yourself. And so you feed that transcript to any AI model and ask it to prompt you to create reels based on the discussion. And so the real one, it might say, why pharma? So you answer that question. The second one might be pros and cons of pharma. You might create that reel. And the third one might be CV tips. And then you can create that reel. And so that way, it kind of becomes a flywheel where the content you've already created prompts you to create the next layer of content, which in turn can inspire another round of content creation. And the thing that I forgot to mention with ManyChat was in the automation, you do have the ability to capture email addresses. So you can automate that in there. So if you're offering a link to somebody, or if you're offering a giveaway, you can say, okay, cool, what's your email address? And that way you start to build your mailing list. And I'm sure you guys have like a massive mailing list. Just use that and send that out. Invite people to things that helps build the like factor and the trust factor for yourselves. And hopefully that can successfully help people go from finding out about you to trusting you to choosing you and helping them make the decisions along the way. And so going back to my quality improvement routes, if there were metrics that I was tracking, they would probably look something like this. So you want outcome metrics and you want process metrics, right? So the process metrics is how many lives are you holding? Live events, not people's lives. How many live events are you holding? How many reels are you putting out? How many carousels are you putting out? And what is the outcome of each of them? So the outcome would be, live attendees, reel retention, and website visits, your newsletter, mailing list growth, your obviously your signups and paid customers. So if you're tracking all of these things, this more of this reflects into more of this if done correctly. And so once you get to a point where it is working, you might have to go through a bunch of iterations to figure it out. Once you figure out it is working, just accelerate and push volume on the processes, and that should drive a lot of the outcomes. And one of the things you want to think about is balance measures. What are the things that you don't want to lose as you push this? So it could be your own energy, it could be quality, it could be values, could be users, because you don't want to be the next chat GPT that's made the wrong decision and have thousands of users signing off every minute. So yeah, couple of things to think through. Let me know what you liked most. What did you find most valuable? What's new for you? What are you already doing? How are you translating this information? Let me know what you're going to do with it. Super curious to find out. Once again, thanks for letting me do this. A bit unstructured in my usual way. But if you'd want me to dive deeper into anything in particular, let me know. I'm not a user of TikTok, so I'm not too familiar, but I can go further into automation processes, especially using AI and AI agents. I'm in the process of building my own right now. Cool. I'm going to stop there and say thanks so much for watching. See you at the next one.